think it's a very important topic. Yeah, and it's a very important topic for me as well because I've seen how social media, internet technology can really destroy productivity in the workplace. But it's also a very broad topic. So I'll just focus on the person that introduced me mentioned some things about the health effect of not creating that balance. All right, so it actually affects our mental state. But I won't focus on that, not into the health part. I'll focus more on how to um, create strategies around making sure that we really utilize technology for helping us rather than the other way. Okay, so the always on paradox. When Facebook and the other social media platform came out, one of the things they were selling to everybody is you get connected to your parents, whether you are there or you're not there, you're still connected, you can speak to them, you can message them. All right, and then in 2020, it now became very obvious that, oh, you can even work from home. A lot of technology came out to help people work from home. All right, so many people now started using the work from home platforms like Zoom, Team, and the rest of them. All right, so we saw it as very nice. 2020 it was so nice. Oh my, I can still work from the house instead of being in the office. So that was the idea technology brought to many of us, and that's the idea it still brings anyway, which is very good. Yeah, but the paradox here now is it really giving you the freedom to be connected, or is it subtly creating a form of bondage? All right, so the answer to this is dependent on you. All right, it can be a source of connectivity, it can also be serious bondage if you don't control it very well. All right, so this is a statistics I collected from Microsoft Work Trend Index. So 86% of staff get to respond to professional check emails outside work hours, meaning that there's an increase in the number of people that is answering emails, messages from work, all those other things outside work hours, and it still keeps increasing. So even after 8 to 5, some people get to still respond to messages. And there's also an increase in average screen time. All right, so we're seeing this average. Some people spend over 8 hours on their phone. All right, if you're using, of course, a good smartphone, you see your screen time and you can see how much time you're spending on these devices. All right, then there's also like a 2.5 increase in rate of burnout, meaning that more people are burning out in the 21st century, especially from 2020 to 2026 when work from home became very, very popular. So there are more people burning out right now. So, and of course, majorly is because of the fact that we can always connect to our work even when we are not in the office. All right. So, are we creating a bonding platform or we are being in bondage? So, more connected to yet people feel more isolated. You get to see a lot of people connected on different platforms now. Some people are on Teams, some are on WhatsApp, some are, of course, they have their email, some are on Twitter. You can name all of those platforms, all right? So we are meant to create a system of bonding, but it seems many of us are actually now in bondage, all right? And funny enough, looking at the statistics, it even says that even though we have all these tools, all right, even though we have all these tools right now to do different things, yet the rate of loneliness has actually increased. So people feel they're more connected now, but yet many people die of depression. All right, so you're seeing a 61% increase in the number of people that are feeling lonely. All right, despite always communicating. So you're talking with people on phone, you're liking people's posts, you're making comments, but yet you feel there's a kind of void you feel within that you're actually lonely, you feel alone, even though you're communicating. So it means that beyond just the bonding that it's created, there's a form of bonding it's actually creating for many of us. And what many people do to feel that bondage, they end up getting more and more and more social media platforms, being more and more connected to all these platforms to find a way to fill up that void that they are feeling inside. So meaning you're moving from Facebook to Instagram, to Twitter. Once you're done with your timeline there, you move to another platform just to fill a void. So loneliness has actually increased, even though we have all these platforms that tends to connect us. And then messages on Slack and Teams has increased drastically, especially from 2021. All right, so it has actually gone very high. And then we now see a reduction in in-person collaboration, meaning that people don't get to see each other again. All right, I'm just creating a statistic so that we know what is really happening with all of this technology that you're seeing out there. I'm used to technology, so I've seen how these things can cause troubles. All right. Funny enough, the people that create most of these technologies hardly use them. But let's not go to that part. Just continue what I'm saying. All right. So in-person collaboration has been on the it has been reduced drastically because you don't get some people work in places they don't see each other year after year. They don't see themselves. They just collaborate online. So you can see that reduction. And with all of this, we are still seeing burnout increasing. Right? This is we don't really have a major statistics in Nigeria, but this is from United States-based study. And 9 in 10 adults are under extreme report pressure. All right, and this is actually this professional adults, by the way, professional people working. They're under extreme pressure of delivering different things, and this has caused a lot of burnout. People don't even know when they burn out, and they just even in the healthcare practice, I think it is even worse because so many people work shift after shift, and they don't get time to even rest or meditate or just think on what they are doing, and many of them just collapse and eventually die. Okay, so this is what used to be before, and this is what has now become. Before it was regular 9 to 5, so you go to work 9, by 5 you're out. Although some companies still try to maintain this culture, all right, a lot of companies try to maintain this culture, but a lot of other companies are actually going off this. Before now, when you are home, it's your personal time. Apart from your work now, this is a big problem because we have a very big office in our pockets right now. We have the whole world in our pockets, in our phones. All right. And so many people that are even at home, they are not at home. They are disconnected. Right? They are disconnected because you can be talking to somebody and he's on his phone, you're speaking, but he's not hearing you. All right. So that has changed over time. Disconnection was natural before now. When you get back home, you know that you're done with work activities. All you just need to do is maybe cook, eat, or do whatever you want to do and relax. But right now, it seems you are not disconnected because somebody can still call you. Somebody can still say, "Oh, I just sent you a mail. Please help me check that mail." Somebody can still send you a WhatsApp message or a Facebook beep or wherever the communication system is. Before now, people just follow a linear career path. Well, I'm a this and then just continue. But now you get to see people doing multiple things. Maybe not gigs or other career-based things, but you get to see people doing much more than they do in the office. All right, and that has created a system of disconnection. And of course, single screen household. Growing up, it was just the TV that we had. All right, so if the TV is being used by a father, everybody watches what the father is watching. But right now, we have devices upon devices, and these devices gives us access to the world. All right, so you get to see different things happening in a particular house. Someone can be in his room, but yet is connected to the world. So things have changed. All right, in this light, and many of them are actually silent bondages that we don't know. And if we don't take note of them, it's going to cause serious damage to many of us. So my main focus is on this part, as I said, just showing you how to manage these things. All right, we made a point on what has happened. It has happened. It has happened. There's a shift that has happened. The system has been created to make you always be on. All right, it has happened like that, but you have to create an act. All right, which is basically discipline, so that you can move from accidental availability to intentional boundaries. Meaning you have to intentionally create the boundaries that help you deliver on whatever vision and purpose you have. All right. So if you don't intentionally create this, it won't work. Um, I'm not really a believer of the whole work-life balance thing. Reason is that I believe you should love your work so much, and you should also love your life so much. So They are not word and opposite. It's either you're working or you're living. No, they're not word and opposite. It's actually a situation of work being integrated in life. All right, and you have to find a way to manage that integration. You're not trying to separate it. Many people have tried to separate it and say, okay, if I'm at work, then I'm working. If I'm at home, then I'm this. No, you shouldn't separate it. And that's why it's important to get a job, get a career path that you love. All right, something that you can spend time doing, something you can spend years working on, and you don't feel stressed. All right. I know when Maxwell called me to ask if I would take this, I was like, are you sure I'm the right person to take this? If you know me well, you know I'm literally on my system almost all through the day. All right. But I've never felt any iota of stress when working. All right. I don't feel it as stress. I don't feel like I'm working. I feel like I'm living. All right. Because I've selected a career path that makes me not stressed. So I see it as life. I see it as working in God's will for me, working in purpose. All right. So, and if I'm working in that, I don't feel stressed about it. And that's how I believe we should all take it. We should see it as work-life integration, not trying to balance to the left or to the right, but you're integrating your work into your life. You're making your work your life. And remember, family is not an additional part of your life. Family is your life. So if you're not creating time for family, then you're not really living. So we have to find a way to integrate all of this together by creating systems, all right, that will make it work. Three systems: boundaries, readings, renewal. Boundaries means you have to intentionally create gates that you open and close. These boundaries is very, very, very important, especially knowing that the system has been created. The system to keep you active has been created. So it's left for you to create a boundary that works. All right. Readings. So align yourself with deep work. There's a book called Deep Work. I can't remember the author now, but it helps some of the things I wrote down here. Deep work is a state of mind where you focus on doing particular tasks and avoid unnecessary constraints. Just focus on that particular task. So reading says we have to align ourselves with deep work, meaning create time to focus on whatever goal you've created. All right, focus on that thing and see how you can achieve it before getting distracted. That's the idea about deep work. Renewal, create breaks is important. Even though I say I'm always on my system, I create breaks. All right, I try to do eyes exercises, leg walks, just take a walk and come back, stretches, so I don't sit all day. Of course, my wife won't allow me to do that anyway. Yeah, but that's if she's around. She's not around, I can't stay. But anyway, I try as much as I can to ensure that there's that renewal processes, all right, occurring day to day while working. All right, so I think I have a very short time. Let me quickly run to. Mark, I say it's 15 minutes, Abby. Oh my goodness. And I prepared so much slide here. But anyway, let me quickly run to the pillars. There are three pillars I've created to help us to properly discipline ourselves. The first one is strategic productivity. This is a part of deep work, all right, focusing on impact, not on activity. Focusing on impact, not on activity. Now, if you read that book, Deep Work, it talks about how if you pick up your phone while trying to work on something and you distract yourself, you've lost about 15 minutes of productive time. I think 20 to 15 minutes of productive time by that interruption. Okay, 20 minutes, not 15 minutes. 20 minutes of productive time by that interaction, by that distraction rather. So what does it mean? You're focusing on your work and then a message comes into your phone and you quickly just look at that message. You've actually lost 20 minutes of productive focus by just being distracted. And this really caught my attention while reading that book because it just shows how many minutes and hours we keep losing daily by being unnecessarily distracted. All right, because your attention span, the way God has built the brain, he built it in a singular but in a multi-dimensional way, but it's kind of singular. All right, if you want to achieve great things, you have to be singular. All right, there's a way the Bible puts it that if your eyes be single, your whole body will be full of light. meaning if you're focused, that laser focus that comes with whatever you're thinking, all right? So that laser focus would help you achieve anything you want. So we have to understand that productivity is, for productivity to help you, you need to avoid distraction, all right? You need to avoid distraction. And there's this ultrasound rhythm that is very important for strategic sprints. The idea of this is that you work 90 minutes uninterrupted. That means you set an alarm and say, the next 90 minutes I'm going to work uninterrupted. By the way, towards the end, I'll show you how I manage my own work schedule. I make sure that I'm productive and doing a lot of good things. All right. So you manage that 90 minutes work schedule, meaning 90 minutes of deep uninterrupted work. All right. So you're going to set in the next 90 minutes no social media, no platform, and all those things. Now, this is also very important because based on research, it says that once you get to 90 minutes of consistent work, your brain power your brain signals like a stress relief. So you have to um, um, de-stressify, there's anything like that, but to reduce that stress that is coming to your brain. With just a walk, or not to go and sleep, just take a walk, or stand, or do something to get your brain back. All right, so that's this ultradian reading that this talks about. So 90 minutes deep work, 15 minutes digital disconnection, and then come back to work. So you continue this iteration. From the research, if you continue this iteration, I think 4 times, is it 4 or 8 times a day, you've worked better than somebody that worked 8 to 5 full work in 2 days. That means following that ultradian reading. You can read about it. It's a good concept. Also embedded in the book Deep Work, so you can also read about that. Digital hygiene. This is like the most important part for me because this is the one we can really control. This may be a bit hard, but this we can control it ourselves. If you don't control it, then it's because of you. Yeah, it's totally because of you. Now there's also a research called the dopamine loop that states that when you see a notification like this, it triggers an alert within your brain to want to respond. All right, it triggers an alert to want to respond to that message, that notification. So sometimes it's not even your intention. It just comes. You just see a notification and you want to pick up your phone, or it just rings and you want to pick up your phone and see what's happening. All right. So we have to find a way and audit our notifications. All right. If you don't do that, then this will make it difficult for you to achieve this orthodan reading or achieve deep work. So it's important you create a system around managing this. This is total discipline. It's discipline. If you're not disciplining yourself, that's why I started with the act of discipline. All right. It's totally an act of discipline. It's intentional. You have to intentionally create that system. There's no automatic way around it. You have to be the one to create it. All right, then there's this onset ritual. Very, 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 very important. The brain down, write everything you want to do down. Write it down. Write not in your phone. If possible, write it with a pen. Write it down in a book. All right, there is a connection between your book and your brain and your activity. It's important you write it down. All right, write the vision and make it plain. Not in your digital note. Write it in your book. Very important. Then there is digital curfew. This is actually very important. I know I saw a post that has been trending for a while now that said, why are you putting your phone on do not disturb when there's so much issues? I don't know if you've seen that picture. But don't allow people to guilt trip you or make you feel like if you're already doing DND, don't allow those things affect whatever you're doing currently. All right, it's important to go off. All right, it's important to go off. I'm not saying go off family and all those people that are important to you, but it's important to set DND. All right, when I get to the part, I'll show you what I do, and maybe I will explain that better. Physical transition, already explained this, so try to take a walk and all of those things. Notification audit, already explained this as well. So audit the kind of alerts you get. And then recovery rituals, make sure you create a system around recovering. All right, so let me quickly run to, wow, there's a lot of slides here. Okay, restorative movements, make sure you find some time to move. But the one I want to focus on is intentional stillness. Now, this is lacking in our current generation. Intentional stillness, ability of people to just stay without devices. All right, creating time to take a walk, to look at the sun, to just think, to just refresh. This is very important. All right, this is very important. I don't have so much time to explain a lot, but this is very, very, very important. All right, take out some time, leave that phone, leave that device, just take a walk, go to the park, and just look at the sun. Spend some time to meditate, spend some time to think without those devices. Those things helps you to refresh. All right, and then deep connection when you are with family, when you are with friends, leave the phone. All right, leave the phone and just discuss. You can be talking with somebody in an outing, and then you're speaking, but the person is not hearing what you're saying. All right, and this is actually a very big problem in our generation right now, even in families. All right, everybody is in the house, but nobody is in the house. Everybody is distracted, so we should find some time um, to be still and also create that level of deep connection. All right, personal act of discipline. I think my time is up, but let me just quickly share this, like maybe to help somebody. Then you can take questions. Mindfulness mode. Um, if you have an iPhone, it's actually very important to set up mindfulness mode. I think it's in. I'm not really. I think it's in other Android phone. I'm not sure, but it's a very important feature I've seen in iPhone and Samsung. All right. What mindfulness helps you do is that you can create a DND that would turn off notification automatically on its own at a particular time. For me, once is 9 p.m. till 8 a.m. in the morning. No notification comes to my phone. No calls come to my phone. No email, whatever. All those things doesn't come to my phone. 10 p.m. rather, not 9 p.m. 10 p.m. Once it's 10 p.m., all those things don't come to my phone again. Except I want to go and check it by myself. But once it's 10 p.m., they don't come to my phone again. And that has helped me to caution some calls that are unnecessary. All right, so it just ends the call on its own. So I can tell, oh, sorry, I didn't see it. It was on mindfulness, and I did not see it. All right, but there's a tweak to this. If you're using some of those phones, they'll ask you if you want to set some people to ignore the mindfulness for. All right, so I have like three different mindfulness modes. I have one for personal, I have one for work, I have one for um, um, everybody. All right, personal, work. There's one more I can't remember right now. But the personal, nobody can call me, no, including my wife. She can't call me. All right, and she's actually on this call. Anyway, so but I don't go to personal mode every time. All right, but I have that personal mode. When I'm on personal mode, I don't want any messages, any call whatsoever. But I want to still use my phone because I may want to read a book or browse something out, but those notifications and call, I don't want them. Then there's now the normal mindfulness mode that shuts off everybody except critical people, my family, my wife, those ones are not shut off. And that's the mode I'm usually in most of the time. And there's the walk. Walk just shuts off everybody apart from people I work with that can call me. So if you're not part of the people I work with, your calls won't come in. This is a personal act of discipline that I've learned, and it's really helping me. To-do list. In the morning, try and create some of these to-do lists to help you manage what you're doing for the day. Just prioritize important information, and by prioritizing this important information, Max, I've seen your thumbs up. I think you're telling me to stop, Abby. Please confirm if that's what you're saying. Let me know.
Yeah, Mr.
Yeah,
Okay,
let's
continue.
let's try and wrap up.
Mm.
Okay. Let me wrap up. What I'm saying. Okay, so to do this, avoid social media. This one is, if you try to tell people, it's going to be difficult. But I'm not on any social media platform apart from LinkedIn. If you classify LinkedIn as social media, or even that one is once in a while I go there. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever all those platforms have. Reason is, for me, they are not necessary. And to be honest to everyone, you're not missing anything not being on this platform. You're not missing anything not being on this platform. If you're a business person and maybe you're using it to push your business, then make sure you restrict it to pushing your business. Restrict it to that. If you are maybe an influencer and that's what is helping you push your brand, please go ahead. But for personal use, my opinion anyway, I honestly believe it's not necessary. All right. So set app limits. So try as much as possible to set a limit to applications. All right. I have a limit on WhatsApp. All right, for messaging. I have a very limit on WhatsApp. Once the limit gets there, and it goes off by itself. So no messages, nothing comes in. It just turns off the WhatsApp by itself. Although sometimes I ignore it. All right, but the idea is actually helpful. Like turns it off by itself, and any messages whatsoever doesn't come in until I'm ready to maybe ignore it and then use it. And then silent and archive notification. 80% of the groups I belong in are all silent. All right, and archived 80%. If not, it's just maybe for work. The one for work I don't archive it, but most of the groups I belong in are all archived. I don't see their notification, I don't see their messages, except I want to consciously go and check it. But most of them are archived because yeah, I'm not really missing anything. If I'm missing something, somebody will call me to go and check it. All right, so you can create a system around it and make sure it works for you. These are just personal boundaries I've used to help myself. And then strict boundaries. This is very important for those that are married, those that are in relationship. You are in the outdoor activity with your wife. Even those that are not married necessarily, an outdoor activity with friends. Please create that system that I won't press my phone while in outdoor activities. All right, especially for married couple. For instance, when you are eating, the phone shouldn't be there. All right, it should be somewhere else. You and your wife should talk. Whoever you're on the table with, you should talk. All right, when you're going to the bed, all right, try not to take the phone there if possible. Try not to. In fact, I actually had to get a second phone because sometimes you may need to read or you may need to do so. I just carry a second phone to the bed in case I want to check something. Why the one that has all the disconnection is maybe in the sitting room or somewhere. It's to avoid these things. So create these strict boundaries. You're in church, you shouldn't be pressing phone. If you're in the mosque, you shouldn't be pressing your phone. These are times you can bond, all right, speak with people or do some of those things to help you distress and make you more productive. All right, thank you. The world will not slow down, but you have to choose to continue to show up. All right, so nobody's slowing down for you, but you have to ensure you create a system around it to make sure it works. All right, thank you. I should have created a shorter slide, but thank you. Thank you. All right, Matt, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that beautiful presentation. So, just to wrap up all we talked about tonight, we'll be reminded today that work life balance is no longer about dividing hours perfectly between work and life, but actually about creating healthy systems that allow us to function well in an always on world. We also explored how constant connectivity can quietly drain our focus, increase stress, and reduce our well being if not managed intentionally. So it's more about being intentional. We also learned practical solutions such as setting boundaries, managing notifications, protecting deep work time, prioritizing recovery, and even caring for our physical and mental health. Most importantly, it's very important that we are reminded that the world may not slow down, but we can choose how we show up within it. So, the next section we'll be having is the interactive session. We'll have a pile up of questions. We'll be asking our guest speaker, and he'll be giving us his best responses to that. So I'll be sharing my slides for our question session Please confirm if you can see my screen. Just give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen. All right, thank you so much. All right, back to our question session. So our first question here says, always on is now the default in many industries. So what does a healthy boundary actually look like in 2026 when we have platforms like Slack? Slack is a platform where professionals, just like teams, they work on the platform. Then you have emails and calls, and they seem never to stop. So what can we do? Is it to switch off after work? Is it probably not replying immediately or even saying no sometimes? What can actually work in real life? Mr. Ifani, over to you.
All right, thank you. This is actually a very difficult question, to be honest, um, especially when you are in a work setting that requires you to respond to questions rather, very fast. Um, you may find it difficult, all right, if you're in those kind of setting. But what I would advise, all right, what I would advise, especially when you're in a strict setting, all right, is maybe discuss whoever you have as a boss, all right, and then explain to them that you actually be very active within this time and not be active within this time. That's for the extreme cases where they require you to be a very active online. But if it's just the normal work settings, I already stated how I manage my notification. So you should create a way around managing that, all right? Because it won't stop. All right, they will still message you because they feel you should be online. All right, you have data connection, so you have to create that intentional boundaries by yourself. But if it's a system where you have to make sure you respond to that thing because certain decisions are dependent on your response, I would really please you speak with whoever is your manager and explain to them that you would actually prefer that this particular time you are not going to be available. All right, so that has to be managed from your manager. But if it's just a general workplace, I've already given those tactics, notification audits, create curfew time, and manage it with those systems. I think that will, yeah.
All right. So it's more about building systems. So have your coffee time, if possible. I don't think it's wrong to let your boss know that probably at a certain time be available because you also need your own me time. Thank you so much for that response. So our next question says, who is responsible for setting boundaries? Is it the individual who could be the employee or the manager or the company culture itself? So where does accountability or responsibility truly begin?
Okay. Um, so still those same two situations. You have your time to yourself. You have to manage it by yourself. All right, you have to make sure you manage it. Funny enough, from what I've discovered, to be honest, many times we blame our employers rather, for creating a culture that you're spending a lot of time on those platforms. All right, but you're complaining about the obvious one that they're sending you a mail by 9 p.m. to respond to. All right, so you have a major role, to be honest, as an individual, to create that definite boundary first for yourself to manage issue programs with that. Then of course the company culture most times define how these things work. So if you're in a company culture where um, your manager can call you at any time and then you have to pick the call, right? So the manager will just call you and then you have to pick the call. But that one is because of the way the company culture has been created. But if you are a entrepreneur or you lead a business or you have people working under you, you have to consciously create that system to make sure it works. As an entrepreneur, you have that to be done. But if you're in a system that is already that toxic and you are not in the management level or you are not in the directorate level, it's quite difficult because the company culture is not defined from down up, it's defined from up down. So it's dependent on whoever is up there that will determine how the whole company works. But leave that part you cannot control. I'm a firm believer of working on what you can control. The ones you cannot control, you just leave it. I believe the ones you can control is the social, and you can control those ones. So you create a system around that. So everybody's accountable. You, your manager, the company, everybody's accountable. But the one you can control is your phone, and you're always being active. So you should focus on that one and leave the managers and the culture. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much again. Did justice to that question. So move on to question 3. So how can you manage a client or your boss's expectations when you don't respond instantly without being seen as a difficult person or someone that is not committed to the cause of the organization?
All right. So first of all, just create a system around your productivity. All right, create a system around your productivity. When you're working, let everybody know you're working. All right. When you're doing your tasks, let everybody know you're doing your tasks, and then you're giving out results. So that when you're not there, when you're not right, I doubt people will question commitment to just one moment of not being active. All right, one moment of not being active. I doubt people will question your commitment based on that. This movie Suits, I don't know if you've watched it. Is a lawmaker movie, very nice movie. Anyway, so the idea of the movie, there's a guy called Abby Specter. He's like one of the senior lawyers there, and he's actually very good. But he comes in whenever he wants. He does his work whenever he wants. But he's the person that brings the most clients to that organization. He's the person that brings the most money to that organization. So it means if Avi doesn't come early, nobody's going to complain and say he's not coming early. Nobody's going to say why is he not around. All right, so nobody will question your commitment. So just make sure your productivity is well spelled out so that when some of these things happen, nobody's going to come and question why are you not committed. The same thing with if it's a client. Let the client know when you are active. You're active, all right. If you're giving them a support personnel to help manage their system, let the support personnel be present every time, so that when the person is not around, we had a situation last year with our software LabSync with a client, right? And there was something he asked us to do, and we didn't do it. My colleague and said, what's happening? Why are you guys slow now? The idea is he expected, he knew what we were doing before, and he was like, from what I know you guys as, you respond very fast. So what has happened? He was asking out of concern, not out of bullying us or anything. We're asking, did something change in your company? Did any information? What really happened? Is it because you're scaling? So he was asking based on that question, and that makes a lot of sense because you've always been active. So this one time you are not active, I won't use it to judge you. All right. So make sure your commitment is well known so that when you're not there, nobody's going to use just that one situation to judge you not being committed. I don't know if that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you. You did.
Yeah.
So move on to question 4. So burnout isn't always obvious until it's severe. So what are the early warning signs you've learned to watch for in yourself or in your team?
All right. When I started talking, I said work and life is integrated. All right. So if there's anything I would advise, I've never experienced a burnout, so it may be hard for me to answer that question. And if there's anything I would advise is make sure you love what you're doing. All right, love what you're doing, and That helps to solve a lot of problem, to be honest. But if you don't love what you are doing, all right, that's when maybe situation like this comes up. But first of all, please love what you're doing, so that when you spend so much time working on it, it won't really tell on your health, all right? Because a good heart doeth good like medicine, all right? So if you have a good mind, a good heart, a good thought process, it helps you like medicine. So, and if you have a good job, it also helps you like medicine. So you don't need to take drugs. Your work is you're not tired basically. All right. So that's the first advice. Make sure you work on what you love. Don't work on what you don't love. But if you find yourself in a situation where this is the case, where you're just doing it to make ends meet, you need to create a structure around recovering. I mentioned it in the slide. You need to create a renewal structure. All of these things are dependent on system you have to create. All right, you have to create a renewal structure, meaning at the end of the work day, I will spend some time to meditate. I'll spend some time with family. I'll spend some time with loved ones. I'll spend some time listening to music. I'll turn off my notifications and all of these things. All right. So that will help you from being burnt out. All right. Yeah. But in case you see yourself burning out, please just shut off everything and just leave all the phone. If possible, take leave and just rest. I don't know if I've helped in that question. So warning signs. I think basically you feel it in your body. All right, you feel it that you're not your best. You see that things that should take you 1 minute is taking you 1 hour. You see that tasks that shouldn't take you so long is taking you longer time. That just means go and rest. All right, go and rest. That's what that means. You know yourself. You know this particular task will take me 2 minutes. But why is it taking me 2 hours to complete? It just means you need to rest to avoid that burnout. I hope that answers the question.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. So, move to question 5. So, in an always on world, can one truly disconnect? You talked about leave in the previous, or even on weekends,
Yeah.
you find yourself in a remote or hybrid setup. I don't know, can you share with us some practical systems that may have worked for you or the ones you can recommend?
Yeah, so I think I've shared that from the discussion. All right. So whether you're in a hybrid system or whatever system you're in, just shut off things that are not necessary. Or if you are resting, make sure you're resting. You shouldn't be resting and pressing your phone at the same time. That means you're not resting. All right. There's a study. I don't know if you can still hear me. I'm getting
Yes,
this
we can.
network. All right. There's a study on new generation or new upcoming people, their mind. All right. So it's really scrolling effects. Media, you mentioned damage, a lot of it. Facebook, you just keep scrolling and it's endless, it's infinite. All right. It just keeps going and going and going and going. That's what many people do when they say they are resting. Your brain is still active. All right. Even when you're sleeping, your brain is active. Talk more when you're scrolling. So you're not truly resting. All right, you're not truly resting. So if you say you're taking leave, then make sure you take leave. When you notice that you're not as productive as you should be, it means you need to take good leave. All right. If they are sending you a message, if you're working remotely and you tell them you're taking leave, I don't think they should send you a message. All right. I don't think they're expecting you to respond, but some situations may expect you to respond. But I don't think that's the first line of thought. So if you don't respond, they will just assume that you're on leave. Most time they will just assume you're on leave. So it's dependent on you to disconnect it. See, this thing is personal, all right? The world will not wait for you to disconnect the way it is right now. So you have to intentionally create a system around disconnecting. I already mentioned how I manage mine. So but you have to create it by yourself and what works for you. Do not disturb may not work for you. Archiving and silencing those groups may not work for you, but you have to spend some time thinking how it will help you and what you need to set up to make sure. um, you actually disconnect and spend some time thinking, right, and meditating. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. To add to that, I would also talk about discipline, just like you mentioned earlier. It's about disciplining yourself. If it's bedtime, tell yourself it's bedtime. Even when the notification comes, it can wait. Because most of us have this fear of not losing out, and we want to stay updated with the current trend, what's new on Facebook, what's the new gist. But the truth is, if you don't give yourself a break, if anything happens, of course, the world will move on without you. Thank you so much for that response, Mr. Ifeanyi. So, move to question 6. We're progressing. We have about 4 more questions, and we'll call it
Sorry.
a wrap.
Is it possible? Is it possible we give some other persons maybe to
Okay.
ask questions before we continue with the
All right.
recorded?
Okay. Okay. So, if you have a question, just use the raise hand icon. Tap those 3 dots on your screen, and you see the raise hand option. Just raise your hand, and I'll call you up and take your question.
Okay, thank you. So you can
So,
maybe
while we're
continue.
waiting, yes. Okay.
Thank
So,
you.
question 6. What's the difference between being passionate about your work? You said something about loving what you do. So, what's the difference between being passionate about your work and being addicted to it?
All right. Maybe you have to explain to me what you mean by addiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to explain what you mean by addiction and being passionate because being passionate comes with some level of die-hard drive. All right. Um, in fact, sometimes I see it as maybe more intense than addiction. All right. So that's why maybe you have to explain to me um, what you really mean by addiction. All right. But being passionate is a good thing. But maybe explain to me what you mean by addiction. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, just like you rightly said, addiction, you know, points more towards having to even keep up at the job, even when you're not at your best. We talked about burnout. Now you see that you need to just give yourself a break. Probably you're not feeling fine. Okay, now I'm a nurse by profession, and of course, I'm passionate about my job.
Yeah.
But then when I'm addicted to it, even when I don't feel fine,
Okay.
I don't probably go to my nurse manager and tell her, Ma, please, I'm not really at my best today. Can I take
Okay.
a break? You still want to work, even when you know you're not fine.
All
That you
right.
feel like people are really depending on you. You don't know when to take a break. But I think that's more like an addiction.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So from I think from basically from what I've gotten, passion has to come with some positive drive, positive outlook, whereas addiction comes with negative outlook, and then you still continuing it. For instance, you're in a situation where the boss keeps insulting you and insulting you using negative words, and you're still working there, and you're still being at your best, trying to make sure you deliver. That's what I'm seeing it, all right? So, um, how do you tell the two apart? All right, basically, when you when you see you're working with a positive drive, you have a goal, you have a vision, something that gives you joy, all right, to accomplish, something that gives you joy to wake every morning, to want to do it, all right, and then you continue doing it, all right. I think that's part being passionate about what you do because of the joy you derive from it, the happiness you derive from it. They always want to show up in a positive, um, high spirited energy. Have to be that this work is not really helping you. It's destroying your relationship. It's destroying your mental health, is destroying your emotional um, um, quotient, destroying your physical being, you're losing weight, and all of those things, and yet you continue to show up, you will die. All right. So just when you notice those kind of things, then I think there's a problem. All right, there's a problem. You notice that you're losing weight, you're not thinking properly, you're not doing well, but you keep showing every day, answering those messages. All right, even when you take leave and come back and you still notice that you're still losing more weight, please just leave. All right, leave and then go and re-strategize and make sure you're doing the right thing. By all means, as I said when I started, do what you love doing. All right, because you don't want your work to live inside your life. All right, you're not going to you're not going to achieve the best. All right, so just try and integrate those two and see how it comes out well.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you. So we'll move to question 7. So we all know that technology was made to make life easier, to give us flexibility. But then, with the world we find ourselves in today, it seems we're trapped in the 24/7 work. So, is there any tech habits or tool? I know you shared some with us earlier for mindfulness. Then I think on the Android we have the do not disturb. But are there other tools that we can ban
Okay.
on our phones?
Yeah. So basically, I think the problem we have here with technology is the messages. All right. For me, the messages and the constant need to want to be connected. Yeah, I think someone even showed me or told me about an application. I can't remember the person right now, but someone close to me told me about an application. I can't remember the name, but you can check it out. You set a time limit to a particular application, all right, and when it gets to that time, it closes the application. But unlike the iPhone, if you want to ignore, you can just click on 2 clicks and you've ignored that. But that particular application, before you ignore it, it will ask you to go and verify a conversation or verify a message. Basically, it just makes the process more tedious. All right, so it makes it more tedious. So my answer is just find application that will help you to avoid always being active, but that will make it more difficult for you to access information. All right, so just find application that will
That's all. That's all. Right there, that thing is dead.
informed. All right, I'm more informed than you. I know all the information I need to know. I try to streamline what I need to. I can't know everything. The phone and all these devices expose us to too many information. And the problem is we want to know all this information, even though the brain, the way God created the brain is gives you the ability to want to learn anything you want to learn. But please, you have to restrict what you need to know. You don't need to know what your neighbor posted on Facebook. You don't need to know what your uncle in the village is discussing on Instagram. You don't need to know what that your friend just sent on Twitter. It's not necessary. All right. I believe if it's necessary, you get to know it. All right. So just create a system around it to ensure that those things that you know they are not good. And funny enough, we know those things that are not good. You know when you spend 2 hours on TikTok doing what I don't know. You know when you spend 1 hour plus on Twitter reading different kind of trends that will not add any $5 or 5 naira to your account. So please create a system around that to ensure that you don't waste it on unnecessary activities. Yep.
Okay, so please, you do us a favor. Can we? Can you help us find out the name of the app, and so that we could share it to our audience, probably via WhatsApp,
I think we all have D&D on our
please?
phone. We have mindfulness, so
Yes.
we should use that one. That one is for me. That's I just created that system to show you, to tell you when maybe when you find it difficult. That's like an extra mile that you have to go. But we have D&D on our phones. I'm very sure normal Android phones should have mindfulness. I'm very sure of that. I don't know because I've not really used it, but I'm sure they should have mindfulness as well. I know Samsung has it, so I think since Samsung has it, most of them will have. So just look for it in your phone and create a way around it. Off some of these applications, set limits, let it not open. All right, those groups that is useless, archive them. Anyway, create a
Okay.
system around this thing if you really want it to work. There are many useless groups that we are in, and once those notification comes up, we want to quickly pick the phone and then just see who just posted. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. All right. So please let's close all those things. Even read receipt for oh well this one. Let me not go into that one. Let's just continue. Let me not go into that one. Yeah,
All
but
right.
just create a system. Be disciplined enough. All right. Be disciplined enough. Be disciplined enough to ensure that you want to be productive in your workplace, whatever vision you're pursuing, be disciplined enough to want to make it work. All right, the system has been created already. There's nothing you can do about the system, so you have to consciously try to make it work. Somebody say once a year about receipt. Anyway, so that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. So our next question says, how does always on culture affect different groups? Parents, junior staff, people in client-facing roles, and how can policies be more equitable? How can workplaces be more fair? You know, be more human?
Okay. Yeah. So when you say culture, parents, junior staff, client facing roles. So for parents, of course, you're the parent, you're the head of that home. You know, I mentioned earlier in the previous question that culture is bottom top to the bottom. It doesn't come from the bottom, it starts from the top. So if you're going to refine how culture works, how policies are created, then those at the top will have to be conscious about it. And of course, this starts from our homes. All right, so it's now a norm, is now a norm, which is a very bad norm anyway, that every 1 year, in well-to-do homes, of course, people that are average um, living homes, that 1 year old already has a tablet playing some very useful and useless applications, videos. You get to see, even in church, parents are eagerly, once the child tries to make one noise, you just bring your phone out quickly and then show him YouTube Kids, and then he'll now keep calm. And we think we're doing the right things. All right, that's actually very wrong. I'm sure some of us might have seen um, that that research that says that this is the first time a generation is less smarter than the previous generation, meaning the Gen Zs are less smarter than the millennials from 1999 downwards. All right, they're more smarter, and that's a terrible thing. Which means that if you continue at that pace, it means your child that is 2 years old will be very dull, even though you're giving him all these gadgets. As a parent, please consciously create a system around ensuring that your children don't have access to unnecessary things. All right. Don't give them those tablets. I know you. Some people now use it as a thing of pride.
Distraction
A thing of
to
pride.
engage the child.
Pride. Not just a moment. Pride that my 1 year old child has a tablet. My son that is less than 10 years, he has a phone. Of course, he has a phone. He can make calls. We see it as a thing of pride, and so we buy those things for them. All right, and which may be good, all right, but you are causing more harm than good. There are plenty of research I've read about this, okay, but there's no need going through all those plenty. So as a parent, please, I'm emphasizing on parent because this is where everything starts from. All right, I'm sure there are some parents here.
Yeah.
Please, 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 and please avoid these devices as much as possible. If you can get books for your children, all right, get them to be active. Get this what's this block building thing that they have? Get this block building thing. They should build
Yeah.
things with their hand. They should get engaged with their minds, not watching useless videos on YouTube, all right, or giving them access to social media platform and games. And that's even the funny part. A lot of them play games, different kind of games that I've never seen. I've seen a small child of 2 years rushing through the game. It's sad. But anyway, that's parents. Please let's try as much as we can to avoid that. Then for complaints, the CEO has to create a system around it. Funny enough, my colleague I work with, Jerry, is actually on this call as well. Yesterday we had our town hall and it was still channeled towards company culture. We're very keen on company culture. We're very keen on making sure that people have the mindset that will help us build a formidable company. So that's left for people that have businesses. Spend some time to read. All right, there are books on creating the right company culture. There are books on the leadership mindset. There are books to help you improve your the way you work with your clients. So if you're a business owner, please spend some time reading these things. Spend some time creating the document, the SOP, standard of operation, how your people should work, what they should be doing per time, how they should be more effective. All right, so that's left for people that are in entrepreneurial position. And as I said, the stop button for household, the parents should establish their role. For married couples, just man and wife that is in the house, no children yet. The husband needs to be a man, all right? That's why he's there as the leader to ensure that certain things are curtailed, all right, and make sure that it works. Of course, the woman needs to also help. I mean, sometimes I may be on the dining trying to eat to my wife, and I say, let me pick my phone up. She'll say, no, no phone. And then I know, okay, yeah, drop the phone. So both of you have to help each other to ensure that you make it work. So I think that will help us, all right, to create a proper system to always know. Yeah, thank you.
Well said. Thank you so much. Okay. Second to the last question. So what
So nobody has questions yet.
We've not seen any hand yet.
Are you serious? Okay, no problem.
Enjoying the ones we're asking.
They're enjoying the ones you're asking. Maybe that aligns with what they have in mind.
Yeah. So what's one policy or behavior you've changed in the last year to actively protect your team work-life balance? I know you said there's nothing like work-life balance. Rather, you would say work-life integration.
Yeah.
But what has been the pushback, and was it really worth it?
All right. So one policy or behavior that personally I've changed or that has changed in the company.
Mommy, it's ready for.
Let's go.
Yeah. Hello.
For you as a person.
Oh, for me as a person.
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. So one thing I had to create this year, you said within the last year, that's say this year.
Yes. Yeah.
Somebody is sending no work on Sunday. Yeah. So one thing I've created that's one. Before I got married, I work every day, every time, every hour. All right. So I'm always working. Okay. So, but as I said, I create systems around making sure I don't burn out or any of those things. All right. But immediately I got married, I had to now create a system and say, you know what? From 6 p.m. no work. All right. If I'm going to do any work, to be reading, catching up, discussing with my wife, watching a sermon, listening to music, but the technical work, because I can be very passionate about what I do. If I sit on my system, the hours can just go like that without me really knowing that the hours has gone. All right, so I just avoid that from 6. I also avoid coming to my workstation. Please, sometimes I still work. All right, sometimes, though with some level of permission. All right, from my wife. Okay, so I just accept this. I have to do this. Sometimes I still work, but not all the time. But at least I know I do that. But this has helped me a lot. Sundays that I don't work, it has helped me to sleep more, all right, and read books and spend some time meditating. Some of the really nice ideas that I've gotten within the past year was gotten on Sundays, all right, because once it gets to Monday, especially Monday, it's meetings, so you don't even get time to even meditate or anything, all right, and continue till Saturday. Yeah, but Sundays, some of the best ideas I've gotten um, um, was actually on Sundays, all right, and it has actually been very good. So they've not really been pushbacks. So these ideas, these things are good policies I've created for myself. All right, I don't think there's any bad policy I've created that some level of pushbacks for me. I don't think I've created any bad policy, but most of the things I've created for myself has been how to restrict the number of hours I work and all of those things, and it's been very, very helpful. All right, and some of those things are also going to be company that we that I work in, yeah, because I'm in a leadership position. So also transcend that same information, that same policy to the people I work with, ensuring that hey, don't work on Sundays. Um, I hit it on their head every time. Please don't work on Sunday. If I'm not working on Sunday, you shouldn't be working on Sunday. All right. If I try to leave my workstation by 6, you should leave your workstation, whatever you're doing, by that 6 as well. All right. Yeah. So I also push that same idea to the company to ensure that people balance their work through work ethics and all of those things. All right.
Okay, so we have some hands up. So I'll call on
We're having a chat box.
Patrick Carpenter.
I had a question.
Okay.
What? There's some good books on entrepreneurship to read. Oh my.
Hello?
Okay. So Patrick, just a moment. Let me respond to
Okay, yeah.
Astrida's question. Yeah, so some good books on entrepreneurship. So I'll just tell you the ones I've read.
Which kind of bad network be listening? But this time we
Books, even though that is more personal development and entrepreneurship. I've read. I have a couple of books. Next Step.
Okay, so
Making it big is on my list. I've not yet read it, but I have it. So.
All right. Thank you for those answers. So why I asked you just to know the entrepreneurship, the pathway of it, where would I put it? So I know the kind of people to recommend. Some of the books I've read, I've read this book by T. Jakes. So it's a very nice book for people that are just starting entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Have you read it?
Really good book. I've read it a long time ago. Yeah.
Okay, great. It's a very nice book for people that are just starting.
Yeah.
There is all, as much as possible, all John C. Maxwell.
Yes, John C. Maxwell. I've read them. Yeah, I've read all his books.
Are you sure you read all his books on leadership? You read all his books. He has so many books on leadership. But as much as possible, if you can get
the 15 laws of leadership, the 30 laws of that's a law.
Yeah, so he has 20 books. I doubt you have read.
So that's a good one. Thank you.
Yeah, but if there's any one of his book I recommend is How Successful People Lead.
Oh, good.
In that book, he mentions So in that book, he mentions 5 different stages of that book. So you should read it. There are other books on marketing or leadership. I don't know the channel you want, but maybe you can send a message to Maxwell if you have specifics on the kind of books you want. Then maybe I can recommend. But if it's on with respect to sales and marketing, get Brian Tracy's books on marketing. Brian Tracy is a marketing specialist, so all his books are very nice. For leadership, and of course you can get John C. Maxwell's book. For creating structures and building fast, there's a book by Eric Rice, Lean Startup, or you can also get Zero to One by Peter Thiel. So there are different
Please,
categories of
can you
entrepreneurship.
repeat
Yeah, but
the ones on structure, on marketing and structure? I know you said Brian Tracy for marketing.
yeah, Brand Tracy for
Just have
marketing.
that.
So just he has different books on
Correct.
marketing. He has written a lot of books on marketing, so you can get it. If you want to create structure, building fast,
Building.
depending on whatever
Okay.
you want to build fast, there's Lean Startup by Eric Rice. Understand how building works, building a company works,
Perfect.
right? You can also read Lean Zero to One. Zero to One is by Peter
Okay.
Thiel. Peter Thiel is one of the paper mafians that they
Okay.
paper. So he has on how those things works. All right, so you can blend some of those things and then hopefully it works out.
Thank you very much. And the one you quoted was Deep Works, right? The
Yeah,
one on the 90
that
minutes.
was deep work. Yep. The one, and then of course read a number of biographies that those on business people that you can see, so that you can learn from them how they were able to build. I know you mentioned making it big. That's the one by Otedola.
Yes, that's by Femi Otodola. Yes, Otedola. I've not read it yet, but it's on my list. It's on one of my next books. Yeah.
All right. So
Then
you
the
can also
48 Powers of Law.
Be careful about 48 powers of law, please. Be very
Laws
careful
of-
about that book.
Laws of Power.
Yeah, be careful. Anything about it.
All right. Thank you so much. Personally,
Okay.
I would want to recommend for starters this book I love so much by Akin Alabi.
Okay.
It's called Small Business, Big Money. So you can start out from the foundation. It's a very beautiful
Okay.
book. So it talks about how to start, grow, and turn your small. That's the owner of Naira Bets.
Okay.
That's who Akin Alabi is. So the book is very
Gracias.
nice.
Thank you
Small
very
business,
much.
big money.
Thank
Try it out
you.
as well.
Noted.
Thank you very much. So we'll just move on. Okay. We have people's hands up. Well, let's hear you. Mute your mic.
Good evening, in-house.
Good evening.
Hello. Yeah, good evening.
We can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Mine, yeah, it's not a question. It's a little contribution I want to chip in.
All right. Thank you.
Because if I understand the point of discussion, in our chair, we're talking about the boundaries between our work and our family life. Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes, we can. Go
Okay.
ahead, sir.
I want us to draw a lesson from Adam, the first man, because without work, you can't keep a family. And becoming an addict to your work, you can also destroy the family you want to keep. The reason why Satan was able to tempt Eve, not because he was powerful, but Adam was not there. He was always going to work, leave Eve behind, and the devil had the opportunity to come and tell her, your eyes are beautiful, you are pretty. You know, those things we men or women tell each other when we are in courtship. The moment we cut, at the end of the day, an intruder comes in. For example, for a whole week, you have not told your wife her hair is beautiful, her nails are fine. Gradually, the devil is coming in. It's the same thing that happened to Adam. He was not there. He was just walk. And the difference between passion for work comes with healing. It comes with refreshment. But when you become addict, is either there's a demand, more pressure on you, you want to hit the target, you've set a target, I want to make 10 million, forgetting that your family also is a target. That's where the addiction comes into. So to me, my counsel is those things we are doing, those caring, because when you are in courtship, you call more than 4 times a day. You buy her some sweeties, you take her out, you buy some smoothies and things like that and give to her. And the moment she comes into the house, she does the same. She buys you shirt, buys you tie. But the moment we come into the house,
Mr.
everybody
Patrick.
wants. Yeah.
Sorry, Mr. Patrick. So just quick one, just go straight to the point, all right? So that
What
ahead,
I'm
so we
trying
can
to say
just
is that
wrap up because we're already.
what we started at the foundation, we should be
We
able
should
to
continue.
build what those things
All
together.
right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful contribution.
Thank you.
All right, so the next person we have Jerry Nkocha. Nkocha, sorry. Let's say
Well, I think Jerry has sent his question here. In high pressure industry, what does realistic work-life balance actually look like? The work-life balance is same in every industry you are in. So I already said it's work-life integration. So make sure you're doing. If you're in a high-pressure industry, that means you're required to always be active, like medical industry, I guess. All right. So just make sure that you love what you're doing. All right. So make sure you love what you're doing. So regardless the industry you are in, so that work can easily integrate with life. All right. So the work should be living inside your life. I think that will help you. All right. Thank you.
thank you. I think we'll call it a night. Okay, Mr. Jerry still wants to say something.
Yeah, you brought me to the main question now. You said we should love what we are doing. I'm not asking this for myself, but what of, let's say, people that are already in certain type of work? They don't love it. How can they start
Loving what
loving
they're
what they are
doing.
doing? Or they should their jobs if they are not loving what they are doing?
Yeah. During the presentation, I know I also mentioned that, of course, there are some exceptions. People just want to make ends meet, all right? They just want to feed their family and um, make sure that their family is doing well. Okay. My advice would be, while you continue working on that role, have a vision, all right, of where you think is a better role, so that can help you at least have some level of positivity around work. Because work is actually divine, all right. Mr. Patrick took us back to Genesis. Work actually came before the fall, all right. So work existed before Eve sinned, or Adam and Eve sinned rather. So work is divine. So work is important. It's embedded in our life. So if the one you're doing now is not sweet, please plan for a sweeter one. All right. So plan for it. You may not be able to change it, and you still need to make ends meet. Just plan for something better while you continue retaining whatever you have. So you may try as much as you can to manage a toxic environment, but you can't control it. Remember, I said it's top to bottom. So if the top people in the top they're not interested in changing the culture, there's nothing you can do. So find another job that'll make you better. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we'll call it a night. Any final words, Mr. Ifanye?
No final word from me. Basically, everybody is moving. All right, the world is moving, technology is moving. Nobody is waiting for anybody. All right, but you have to make sure that you manage your environment and make sure it works for you. And also the part I mentioned about parents. I'm actually very passionate about parents being careful about what they expose their children to. If you're a parent here, please caution that it may not be so easy. Yeah, because I see how it's very easy for you to just give them a phone rather than spending time asking them what really is the problem. All right, but please create a system around it to help your children. You're building a future for them, so don't build a disaster. All right, your parents spend time on you, spend time on your children. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ifanye. Please, could we give him a round of applause? I want to see your favorite emojis coming up to appreciate our capacity guest speaker. Thank you so much, Mr.